I want to share something with you. I told my son Yaakov that tonight's speech is something I want to give to my children very, very badly. I want everybody to hear this. I'm asking guys to be Rebbeim, that I want from the Chevra a lot of people to teach Torah. So I want you to listen very carefully tonight. If you either plan on being a Rebbe or to have children. David Clare, it's Nagaya for both reasons. Thank you for being here, David. Shlomo Shurin, I love you and miss you, and thank you for being here, Shlomo Shurin. So, Rabbi, I want to share with you, before we hear from Rabbi Gigi, I want to share with everybody as follows. In the first Mishnah of Pirkei Avos, so we're taught Moshe was Mekabel Torah Sinai, u'Misara Yeshua. Yeshua is Canaan, Leviim, Neviim, Sarua, Lanshe Knes Sagdoila. And if you notice, from Yeshua to the Zekanim, it doesn't say who gave it. Zekanim to the Neviim, it doesn't say he gave it. By the Neviim, it says Misarua Lanshe Knes Sagdoila. And the Medrash Shmuel explains, Rabbi say, that only by the transmission, where there was a big gap, does it say Umisarua. Moshe was Mekabel Torah Sinai, as we discussed already. Moshe's humility allowed him to receive the Torah from Hashem. Umisarua Yeshua, of course, he gave it to Yeshua. There's no Navi ever like Moshe Rabbeinu. That, of course, was considered a new generation. Moshe is considered like the sun, Yeshua like the moon. So there's a drop. It says Misarua. The next ones are considered pretty equal, says the Medrash Shmuel. So it says Yeshua is Canaan. Of course, there was Rebbe Talmud, but there was no massive drop. Zekanim L'Neviim. Of course, it was Rebbe Talmud, but there was no massive drop. The Neviim to the Anshe Knesses Hagdoila, the Anshe Knesses Hagdoila was by the Churban Bayis Rishon. And it was the last period, it was ending the period of Nevuah, of prophecy. And as such, it says, Nevi'im Isarua Lanshe Knesses Hagdoila. They gave it over to them, there was a huge drop. And they taught Anshe Knesses Hagdoila, the last Nevi'im. Some of them were part of the Anshe Knesses Hagdoila, but there was a drop in Madrega. And Haim Amru Shloisha Dvarim, we're going to say that these three things that Anshe Knesses Hagdoila were the three things that they had to bring with us into Golus. The Anshe Knesses Hagdoila were b'shas the Churban Beis Hamikdash. And they were said over three main things that they wanted to inculcate in the Jewish people to continue that which they learned from Moshe, who gave it to Yeshua, who gave to this Canaan. And in this generation that we lost Nevuah, we lost prophecy, there were three things that was so important to give over. And I want to say a pshat to the Chevra and tell you something that I find fascinating. I want to share with Dovi Sens, with Naftali Kerper. Listen like this. The three things, if you're not ma'ayin well, Yaki, if you're not ma'ayin well, the three things seem almost random or strange. Have a misunim bedin, when you judge, be very deliberate in judgment, one. Hamidu talmidim harbe, have many students. Asu siyab l'Torah, make fences for the Torah, which means the Torah has many laws, that the Torah, in order to be kept, it needs the Chachamim, and it needs human being to put in all different Rabbanans. Midaraisa, you could drive and work all day on Shabbos. You just do it with Shinuyim. If without the Chachamim, we would all drive to work on Shabbos, the steering wheel would be between our feet. We would turn the wheel with our feet. And we would go to work and do a whole bunch of Shinuyim. If you do a Shinuy, it's Mutter Midaraisa. But of course, there would be Chilul Shabbos. Of course, Shabbos would be disgraced, and people would transgress their Raisas. People would forget to do Shinuyim. And of course, the spirit of the law, the intention of what Hashem intended would not be met. And as such, the Chachamim were commanded, Asu siyag l'Torah, make fences for the Torah, make laws which allow the law to be kept and the spirit of the law to be met. And as such, we have a whole systems of the Rabbanans, Asu siyag l'Torah. Rabbi say, hear this well, please listen well. The Anshe Knesset Hagdolah are at the end of the Beis HaMikdash. And listen well, Rabbi say, what they were taught. They wanted to put in our bones three things that till today, all of us live off. Listen what they said. Have a misunim bedin means as follows. At that point, they're establishing the law. We still had control. We still had a Beis HaMikdash, and we still were in charge. And we were setting up society. We were empowered over society. And the way they taught Chashivas HaTorah is having Mesunim Bedin. When you paskin, when you set up your systems analyzing Torah, be ma'ayin carefully and well. Give over how important Torah is. Now at that generation, the way you give over importance of Torah is they were setting up law. Bezdin was ours. The law was in our hands. We were in charge. We were empowered. And the way to give over Chashivas HaTorah is having Mesunim Bedin, paskin with carefulness. Send out your Pirkei Torah with sources. Have a Mesunim Bedin, very deliberate in judgment. Give over how important Torah is. That was the way of giving over Chashivas HaTorah in that generation. The Melamdei Torah were setting up the laws of society. They were governing society. And the way they taught Chashivas HaTorah was Mesunim Bedin. Be very deliberate in how you study Torah, in how you author psakim in Torah. Mesunim Bedin means give over Avos HaTorah, a great love of Torah, a great value of Torah. That was how to give it over in that generation. So one is Torah, Mesunim Bedin, means Torah. Learn Torah carefully. Be careful what type of divrei Torah you say. Be careful what type of psak. Show every word is measured. Every vart, every pasuk is analyzed. Every drush is so exact. That is Mesunim Bedin, and that is the first lesson that generation, in order to assure the kiyum of Klal Yisrael. Number one is Chashivas HaTorah. Torah is valuable. Studying Torah, deliberating over Torah, having an opinion in Torah, very carefully studying, learning Torah. That is Mesunim Bedin. 1. 2 is Hamidu Talmidim Harbe. Remember, this is B'shas the Churban. We're not yet dispersed. Klal Yisrael's at high madregas. Picture Ki'ilu, everybody's in the Beis Medrash. Hamidu Talmidim Harbe means don't be elitist. Don't say he's the big masmid, he's the big stark brain, he's brilliant. Hamidu Talmidim Harbe, value every yid. People, there was a sheet in the Gemara to only teach the best, and everybody else. And Hamidu Talmidim Harbe means you don't know. Every yid has massive kaiches. Hamidu Talmidim Harbe means, my friends, Gemilas Chasadim, to value every yid, to celebrate. In that generation when everybody was in the Beis Medrash, so the way to say Gemilas Chasadim is teach everybody Torah. Show everybody has a chashivas. In the Beis Medrash, Gemilas Chasadim is to value everybody's opinions, everybody's kaiches. That is called Hamidu Talmidim Harbe. Everybody's invited to the Beis Medrash. So Hamidu Talmidim Harbe is Gemilas Chasadim. So we have Torah, Gemilas Chasadim. Asu siyag la Torah, my friends. Why did Hashem give a Torah that's quote unquote incomplete? Hashem gave us a Shabbos that's impossible to keep. If Shabbos, the way God said it, would be allowed all the shinuyim, visualize what Shabbos would look like, we wouldn't have the law kept and we wouldn't have the spirit kept. Comes Hashem and he wants the Chachamim to allow Shabbos to be celebrated by making the Rabbanans. You can't drive a car with a shinui. So now the law is safeguarded. Now the spirit of the law is safeguarded. Why did Hashem design a Torah that a human being has to do so much additions to make sure the Torah is kept? And the answer is obvious. Rabbi say mitzvahs, and everybody hear this. There's a tremendous connection between mitzvahs and prayer. The Mesivta Yesharim says that b'shas prayer, a person is oimed lifnei hamelech. Says the Mesivta Yesharim b'shas a mitzvah, you're oimed lifnei hamelech. Prayer and mitzvahs, open Mesivta Yesharim, are both ka'oimed lifnei hamelech. A mitzvah means a connection. A mitzvah is a connection to Hashem. Rabbeinu Yaina writes, b'shas a mitzvah, your tfilasai nishmas, you can pray. B'shas a mitzvah, you're a gadol hadar. And your tfilos are answered. He doesn't say the word you're a gadol hadar. Rabbeinu Yaina writes, b'shas a mitzvah, tfilasai nishmas, your prayers are answered. I called you a gadol hadar b'shas a mitzvah because the Gemara says, if workers are working, they do not stand up for a Talmud Chacham who's walking by. But if a person's in the middle of a mitzvah, chavivin mitzvah b'shaita, you have to stand up for a yid doing a mitzvah. It's mamish a gadol hadar. B'shas a mitzvah, a person's doing a mitzvah. A mitzvah is connection to Hashem. And says the reason Hashem designed mitzvahs, incomplete, so to speak, and we have to do work to connect to the mitzvah, to assure that the mitzvah is done properly, is Hashem wants us to value mitzvahs. Mitzvahs are precious, so there's work of Ben Adam to assure the person cares and is excited about mitzvahs. So Hashem commanded L'mashal Shabbos. Then he wants us, the Yid, to figure out how he's going to observe Shabbos, how he's going to keep the spirit of Shabbos alive. Asu siyag latayra is another way of saying be excited about mitzvahs, care about them, think about them, understand them, delve deeply that you understand what it takes to do this mitzvah. That's all included in Asu siyag latayra. You know what Asu siyag latayra in one word means? Avodah, service of Hashem. Prayer and mitzvahs, lifnei Hashem. What the Anshe Knesset Hagdolah said, three things. They said, Mesunim Bedin is Torah. Hamidu Talmidim Harbe is Chesed, is the value of every Yid. Asu siyag l'Torah is Avodah. Now watch this, Chevra. In the Pasuk, by the way, which the Navi Micha, who was from the last Nevi'im, and we're talking, the Nevi'im taught Anshe Knesset Hagdolah. He says, guess what? Three things that Hashem wants from us. Asais Mishpat, Torah. Avas Chesed, Chesed. And Hatznei Lechem, Hashem Leikecha, go with Hashem, mitzvahs, Avodah. And guess what? This Mishnah, who were Talmidim of the Navi Micha, the Nevi'im gave it to Anshe Knesset Hagdolah. And guess what? They said these three things. Mesunim Bedin. Be careful with Torah. Hamidu Talmidim Harbe is Chesed. Asu siyag l'Torah is Avodah. And they said the exact same order as the Navi. Now let's learn, before we hear Reb Gigi in moments, let's learn Mishnah 2, but keep in mind what we just learned. Watch this. Mishnah Beis. Shimon HaTzadik Haya Mishiyarei Knesset Hagdolah. Shimon HaTzadik was from the last of the Anshe Knesset Hagdolah. At this point, there are no Nevi'im left. The Nevi'im died out. Shimon HaTzadik's from the final remnants of the Anshe Knesset Hagdolah. Hu haya omer, and he used to say, Al shleish dvarim oila oiled, the world stands on three things: Torah, Avodah, service of Hashem, and Gemilas Chasadim. He said those three things. But what I want to say, Chevra, is, first of all, he switched the order. Avodah Gemilas Chasadim, he switched it. He switched it from what the Navi Micha taught him and from what Anshe Knesset Agdola used to say. And second of all, why did he use a different language? His Rebbeim and his people who were before him, the Zakanim before him, they used to say Mesunim Bedin. The way they taught Torah is Bimasan Bedin. The way they taught Chesed is Hamidu Talmidim Harbe. The way they taught Avaida is Asusi Yagla Torah. And the answer is Shimon HaTzadik was talking to a generation that was after the Churban Beis HaMikdash. To say Ave Mesunim Bedin, the way you taught Torah changed. People were no longer establishing systems. So he said, Al Torah it stood, and he taught the Torah and the way to connect Torah for his generation. He taught Avodah. It was no longer everybody. I'm sorry, we'll go to Chesed first. Gemilus Chasadim, that in the previous generation, everybody was in the Beis Medrash Ke'ilu. So it was taught, Hamidu Talmidim Harbe, everybody has a pshat in the Beis Medrash. Shimon HaTzadik was after Alexander was in charge already. We were in Eretz Yisrael, he was a Kohen, we had the Beis HaMikdash, but we didn't have control anymore. At this point, there were Yidden, there were Kusim, there were Yidden, all different Yidden struggling. He taught Gemilus Chasadim and Avodah. What I want to say, Chevron, everybody listen to this. All of us loyally give over what our Rebbeim taught us. I want to teach Torah. I want to hand you only what my Rebbeim taught me. My Rebbeim taught me Torah and I want to give it. I want to share it, my friends. When you give over Torah, loyally teach what your Rebbe told you, but give it over in the language of the next generation. Give it over the Torah in the new words, in the new scenarios, in the new cases of the next generation. Bad Talmidim of a Rebbe say the exact same thing as the Rebbe said. Good Talmidim say what the Rebbe said, but in the way the new Talmidim can hear. They change, of course, Chayim Adam L'daber B'Lashon Rabbi. As much as they can, they'll use the language of the Rebbe. But it's so fascinating to me, and it seems so obvious to me, that Shimon HaTzadik taught Torah Avodah Gemilas Chasadim. He made a switch in the order. I'm not coming to say Pshat. It's fascinating, and you could think about it. Even if you don't agree to my drash, he switched from the Navi. The Navi said Torah Gemilus Chasadim, and then the Navi said a Kesher Avodah, Kesher Tashem. And Shimon HaTzadik switched the order to Torah Avodah Gemilus Chasadim. It needs a pshat. I leave that to you. And he certainly, but what I want to say is the order, how the Talmidim can hear it, that you can change. The language, his Rebbeim taught Mesunim Bedin. They were setting up systems, so that was the way of teaching Chashivas HaTorah. In Shimon HaTzadik's time was the Churban Beis HaMikdash. He had his own language and his own way that his students learned Torah, Avodah and Gemilas Chasadim. Teach what your Rebbe taught loyally. Don't veer a drip. Give over Messiah of Torah. But on these Mishnayos that are teaching us, giving over the Messiah, the fact that Shimon HaTzadik, who's teaching the generation of the Churban, uses new words to teach Lanius Daiti the same lessons of his Rebbe, of his Rebbeim, Torah, Avodah, and Gemilas Chasadim. But he taught it in the way that was recognizable to that generation, that generation can hear. This, my friends, is so important. A guy, a Talmud of a Rebbe who says the exact words of his Rebbe, but this crowd doesn't know what you're saying. I once said a good speaker, and I meant a good Rebbe. I can see a speaker who doesn't change how he speaks based on the crowd is a very, very bad speaker, and what I really mean is a bad Rebbe. He's not adjusting to how people are hearing, to what they're hearing. Ironically, my friends, if a guy says the same words as his Rebbeim, he's teaching a lie. What do you mean? My Rebbe said, and he has the exact same words. If Shimon HaTzadik would have said, have a misunim badin, hamidu talmidim harbe and asu siyag l'Torah, you and I wouldn't be the B'nai Torah that we are, b'siyata d'shmaya. It's only Shimon HaTzadik took the idea as the exact and loyal. He didn't veer an inch from his Rebbeim. But the nusach to his generation was the nusach that it was relevant, that it connected to his. So his Rebbeim, the way they expressed Abbas HaTorah is Misunim B'din. The way they expressed Gemilas Chasadim is Amidu Talmidim Harbe. The way they expressed Avodah is Asu Siyag L'Torah. And Shimon HaTzadik brought those lessons to a generation of Churban Beis HaMikdash. What I'm saying, Rabbi said, we could talk, I promise you, it's a topic, we could talk for hours about it. I'm saying short, I promise you that it's something you could think about a long time. I could have asked you 20 kashas and answered them with this. There's many questions this can answer, but I want a good yesod, Rabbis. I want you to hear the lesson. I'm afraid if I'm myrich on the shtickle Torah, the lesson won't hit you. When you teach Torah, my friends, to your children, to your Talmidim, we're all going to be Maisrei HaTorah. Loyally teach the Torah you learned. Loyally and exactly. But also learn to say it to your children in the language they understand, in the cases they understand, that the Torah talks directly to this generation. They should never think and learn a lie. If you don't say it in the way this generation hears it, so you might say, what do you mean? I said exactly like my Rebbe. But your Rebbe was talking to you and said it in the way you hear it. You then give the idea in the way your children hear it and the way your Talmidim hear it. That's what I get, Rabbi. Say these two Mishnayos that to me are so similar, but Shimon HaTzadik changed the words. That is the lesson. He was Mishiyarei Knes Agdo. The Mishnah makes a point. He was to a later generation, a difficult generation that no longer had Nevi'im, and guess what? His language changed. The laws and ideas didn't change in iota. Chashivas HaTorah, Avos HaTorah must be given over. A great love of Torah. In each generation, Avos HaTorah must be communicated. Avodah must be given over. Chashivas for mitzvah and prayer, connection to God. Through prayer, through Avodah in the Beis HaMikdash, through mitzvahs. Chashivas ha-mitzvahs must be given over. And the preciousness, Gemilas Chasadim. I want to say to the guys, Simcha Katz could be made. He was there from the start of the yeshiva. We built the yeshiva. It was these three things. Pasha, no chedesh. You're not breaking new grounds. Right? Kesman doesn't like in yeshiva when everybody says the word Waterbury. He says it's a treifa word. We're just trying to loyally study Torah and give it over. Love of Torah, and each person's right to Torah is given over. Having Misunim B'din, Torah, Avos HaTorah first and foremost. I remember once learning like this with the guys for 2 hours. And a bacha said, it could be Simcha Katz was there. A guy said at the end of the discussion, he said, Rebbe, I don't like learning. What should I do? I said, did you just enjoy the last 2 hours? He said it was a party. I remember where I was sitting, Simcha. It was in our old, beautiful Beis Medrash. And the guy said, I just had a party. I said, don't look now, but you just learned for 2 hours. We just learned Torah. We studied Psukim. We discussed. We were Misunim B'din. Avos HaTorah must be given over. That each generation can and has a right to Torah. And it's their right. Every Yid has a right to Torah. Avos HaTorah. Gemilos Chasadim, which doesn't just mean doing nice things to people. It means valuing people. Hamidu Talmidim Harbe. Everybody's worthy. Everybody counts. Kavod of the Zulas. Chashivas HaTorah, Kavod of the Zulas. And then mitzvahs. Chavivas HaMitzvahs. Asu Siyag L'Torah. Avodah, prayer, connection to Hashem. That a normal, regular Yid is supposed to be close to God. Talking to Hashem. Excited about the mitzvahs of Hashem. That is all Avodah. And on this, A yeshiva stands on this. You and I stand, and the whole world stands on these three ideals. But when you communicate it to your children, Binyamin Lowy, use a language they understand. You must adapt and accept that your achrayus of giving over these precious things has its own unique language for your Talmidim. And that is the lesson I want to share of these two Mishnayos. Now I would like to ask, Rabbi Gigi Barboisai is somebody who is, my wife and I, my whole family have been close to for many, many years, is a person who's a serious Ben Torah and Ben Aliyah, somebody who's a Rebbe in the Beis Medrash of the Yeshiva, and impacted many Talmidim. It's my zchus, it's our zchus to hear Divrei Torah from Reb Gigi, and then we'll close. Maybe we'll get him Yosef Kasper to clear his voice and sing, you never know. But we'll hear from Rai Gigi. Thank you so much, Rai Gigi. You're unmuted. Thank you for being here. I'm sorry for handing it over so late. Please share Divrei Torah with the Olam.
Wow, Rabbi Shkarach Gadol. You know, I just heard from Rav Melech that we say a bracha every morning that a Kalish Baruch Hu gave the rooster. Everybody hear me? Am I heard? All right.
Perfect.
Kalish Baruch Hu gave the rooster the ability to discern between day and night. The rooster has the ability to discern between day and night. And Rav Melech, he says, so what? Shual, the fox, the wolf, they can also discern between day and night. A bull could also discern between day and night. So what's so special about the Sechvi? What's so special about the rooster? And he said because the Sechvi sees the day coming even when it's still night. Even when it's still night, the day's about to come. The Sechvi has the ability to see it. So I want to thank Rabbi for starting off, for showing us in all situations of life, of the world, what's going on, that we always see the light, the Golan. And thank you so much for everything you do. The Mishnah says in Mishnah Beis, Shimon HaTzadik hayam mishiyarei Knesses Agdola. Shimon HaTzadik was of the remnants left over from Knesses Agdola. He got the Kabbalah from Ezra, and he was of the last ones. And during his time, he was a distinguished leader. He upheld Kalish. He saved us from a tremendous churban. It was in the times of Alexander, and Alexander was told by the Kushim, by the Kutim, that Klal Yisrael walks into the base of Mikdash and we daven for his destruction. We pray for his downfall. And when he heard this, he got incredibly upset. He gathered his men and he came down to Yerushalayim to destroy Yerushalayim. And as he's coming in, all of Klal Yisrael is mourning, sackcloth and ash. They're all being mispal to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and fasting. And as he enters into the place, as he's coming close to Yerushalayim, Shimon HaTzadik puts on his big day kahuna. He puts on his kohanic garb, and he takes all the kohanim with him. He takes everybody with him, and they go out to meet this great king. And the king sees him, and he falls off his horse, and he bows to him, and his men tell him, Alexander the Great, your majesty, why are you bowing down to him? You're bowing down to a Jew. And he said, you don't understand, says the Gemara, that I see him every time I go to war. He's in front of me. He's the vision I see. And that's how I conquer all of my enemies. And Shimon HaTzadik said, you're coming to destroy us. We go in and we're mispala for you, for your success, for you to prosper. And he says, so who's starting these rumors? And he says, the Kushim, the Kuthians. And they took care of the Kuthians. And Shimon HaTzadik took the king and he brought him towards the base of Mikdash. And he brought him up until the place where an akum, where a guy is allowed to go. And he said, up until this point, we are allowed to walk together. From this point on, we can't walk together. We can't go in here. So the king says, I want you to put a statue of me. Classic king move. I want you to put a statue of me over here that people should recognize me and see me and know me. And he says, Your Majesty, we cannot put any idols or images anywhere in the bay. We can't do that stuff. We don't do that type of thing. However, to appease you, any child that is born this year, I will tell the people to name their child Alexander. So there you know the name Alexander, or Sandy, if you're cool, it came from Alexandros, from that episode. And so Chacham Avadia bring Mefarshim that Alexander's Rabbi, his teacher, was Aristotle. Aristotle was his Rebbe's teacher, and Aristotle, the philosopher, He believed in Yichud Hashem. His ideology was the oneness of a Kadosh Baruch Hu, was the oneness of Hashem. And he taught this to his Talmud. And the king used this as a war tactic, because since he believed in the Kadosh Baruch Hu and the one and only, when he was fighting nations that were Oyev Avodah Zarah, he was zeichit to see an image of Shimon HaTzadik and be prosperous and be successful and demolish in the war. That was Shimon HaTzadik. That's the image that he saw. Shimon HaTzadik knew that he believed in the Kadosh Baruch Hu and the oneness of Hashem, and therefore he allowed the Yidden to name their child Alexander. And Shimon HaTzadik tells us that the world exists on three things. It stands on three things. Ala Torah, Ala Avodah, V'al Gemilut Chasadim. That Torah stands on three things. Number one, like Rabbi said, Torah. HaKadosh Baruch Hu looked in the Torah and he created the world. The blueprints of the world is Torah. The Torah is our instruction manual. We look at this instruction manual and we know how to live our lives. The Torah is a Kadosh Baruch Hu talking to us. He put us in a world that's a place to connect to Hashem, this glorious, magnificent world to connect and come close to Kadosh Baruch Hu in every which possible way for every individual at every moment. The Torah is our guide of how to do that. Avodah zu tefillah. The Gemara says that Avraham Avinu said, Kadosh Baruch Hu, Ribono shel olam, Master of the world, creator of the world. What happens if my children sin, if they do Avirah? And the Kadosh Baruch Hu says, then you have something called Karbanos. You make carbon in the Beis HaMikdash. Beis HaMikdash is a place where we connect to Kadosh Baruch Hu. I heard from Rav Sanim Shlita that you see in Chazal, whenever they fall on their necks, that Yosef and Binyamin had a reunion and they fell on each other's necks. And they were crying on each other's necks. And they were having nevuah of each one's Beis HaMikdash. The Beis HaMikdash is the representation of the neck, because the neck connects the head and the rest of the body. The head is the ruchnius and the body is the physicality. And the neck is a point of connection. We connect to Kadosh Baruch Hu in the Beis HaMikdash. That was the connection between Shamayim and Aretz. Today, we don't have a Beis HaMikdash. The Gemara says that we dive into Kadosh Baruch Hu, Avodah zu tefillah. That's our connection to Hashem. The Torah is Hashem talking to us, and tefillah is us talking to Kadosh Baruch Hu, another form of connection. And of course, gemilus chasadim that we do with other people. The oath, you can't connect to other people, you can't build up to connect to Kadosh Baruch Hu. The first mission, Shimon HaTzadik is telling us that this world is a place of connection to Kadosh Baruch Hu. Torah, tefillah, gemilus chasadim. We need each other. We need to daven. We need to learn to connect to the ultimate creator, the ultimate mission of our life, of a Kadosh Baruch Hu. That's this world. Next mission is Antigonos. Antigonos ish socho was mekabel from Shimon HaTzadik. And he tells us, Al tiyu ka'avadim, don't be like avadim, hamishamshin et harav al menat lekabel pras. Don't be like slaves that are serving the Rav to get a prize. A pras is like a prize. It's not schar. It's not that you work for somebody for 2 hours and you get $100, you make $50 an hour. Pras is something that you don't deserve. But don't serve a Kadosh Baruch Hu with intention to get pras. Now, as a part of training, we love incentives. Incentives go a very, very long way. Lahavdil with animals, you go to the animal shows in SeaWorld, they train them, they give them tons of fish, they wave their hand, they do the hokey pokey, they do tons of stuff, wave at the crowd, splash it the right way for fish. The incentives gets them training. Lahavdil elef avdalot, a child, right? We give them incentives, but as we grow older, we learn and we develop to really want something, to appreciate something for what it really is. I was zeicha when I was in yeshiva of Yeager, my Rosh Yeshiva. So when I was a chassan, he took me for my chassan shmooze. And we went around, he took me around, and it was so amazing because I was with the Rosh Yeshiva. I was like a shtickle, like Gaba, I was like with him. So I was the guy with the Rosh Yeshiva. And everywhere we went, it was like such a covet. It felt so amazing to be walking with such a gadol b'Torah and Anav. He's everything. And when he walks in, the whole place recognizes, and you're with him, you're zeichet to be with him. It's an honor and privilege to do anything you possibly can to serve him. Not looking for a reward. I'm not looking for a piece of kugel because I'm with him. It's such an honor and pleasure because that's who he is. You go to a chasana, the day will come in Mitzvah Shem and you're zeichet to drive Rabbi Farkas. Everyone's going somewhere, doing things, cars are packing in, like, I can't go, guys. driving Rabbi Varkas. It's an honor and a privilege. It's hamishamish atarav lo menat lekal b'pras, not for the reward. Rather, I want to serve a Kadosh Baruch Hu. I want to get to that madrega so I can serve a Kadosh Baruch Hu for no reward, just because I understand what a Kadosh Baruch Hu is, and I'm in love, and I want to connect to that. And he says, "Vi moira shamayim alechem," but you have to have yira shamayim. You have to know the rules of the game. You know, I don't know if you ever played with somebody. I'm more in touch with Israelis. So I know, like, when Israelis come to America and they want to play basketball, so you show them the basketball, you take them on the court, and the guy grabs the ball, and he just starts running down the court. And you have to whoa, what are you doing? Yeah, you have to teach him that there's something called dribbling. You told him, get it in the basket. So he's running, getting in the bag. He's doing his thing. But you have to teach him the rules of the game. You can't pass the line. You can't run holding the ball. You have to pass a certain way. You have to know the rules of the game. Ava alone is not enough. You have to have yira. There has to be a line for everything. Everything has a line. And those lines are learned through the Torah Kedosha. And Antigona says that we have to develop an incredible love to Kadosh Baruch Hu with Moira Shemayim. And we'll do one more Mishnah. Rabbi told me through Mishnah, Yossi ben Yoezer ish Treda, Yossi ben Yochanan ish Yerushalayim. They were mekabel from them. Up until this point, up until Antigonus, there was only one leader. There was no machlekasim. After that, there became zugus. There was a nasi and there was a av bezdin. There were zugus, Yossi ben Yoezer and Yossi ben Yochanan, the first pair of zugus. And Yossi ben Yoezer says, your house should be a house where Chachamim get together. You should make yourself, says Rabbeinu Yonah, somebody chashuv, that your place is the place where Chachamim get together. A place of warmth, a place of chashivus of Torah, a place of understanding, a place where Talmidei Chachamim are respected and they want to come there. Cling to the dirt of their feet means treat them with respect. Treat Talmidei Chacham with respect. Your house should be a place where they come, where you can grow. Drink with thirst their word. Their words with thirst. When you're around Talmidei Chachamim, you learn so much. You know, there's a ma'aseh with the Gunner of Shlomo Kluger, that there was a person who used to work for his master, and the slave would save up for a long time, for many a days, he was saving up for a long time, all his money. And came time where he had to leave for a little bit. So he took his money and he hid his money in his master's wine cellar. He took all his life savings and he put it in his master's wine cellar and he hid it over there. And when he came back from vacation, his money was gone. And he panicked and he knew that his master stole the money. So he confronted his master. His master completely denied it, stared him in the face, completely denied it. So he went to the Gaon Rav Shlomo Kluger and he told him the ma'aseh. And Rav Shlomo Kluger calls the guy in. He calls the master over to the Beis Din and he tells him, listen, he's saying that you stole the money. Did you steal the money? And he says, Kvod Harav, I took nothing. I took absolutely nothing. And if Kluger says, I believe you 100%, I just had to hear it from your mouth. Because now that I know for sure from your mouth, that you didn't touch it, I have to assume that a guy broke into your wine cellar and he touched all your wine. And we know that a guy is not allowed to touch wine that is not mevushal. If you pour the wine, you're not allowed to drink it. And I have to be mefarsim, I have to tell everybody in the town not to buy wine from you because a guy just defiled all your wine. Upon hearing that, the guy panicked. He said, no, that would be a much greater loss. I stole the money. And Rav Shlomo Kluger says, I can't believe you. You have to show me now. You have to show me simanim. And Shlomo and the master came running with the wallet that he stole with all the money there, all the simanim were there. Just to see an incident like that, to be around the sviva, Talmid Chacham like that, so you learn how to deal with people. You learn the finesse of life. You know the halacha of what to do and how to deal with situations. When your house is a base vav chachamim and you respect Talmidei Chachamim, you'll be zeichet to be nitabik ba'afar ragleim. You'll be close and close confines with them. When you're around them, you learn from them, you nurture from them, you grow from them, and you develop your way, the way they teach you to serve a Kadosh Baruch Hu, the way you develop from your eyes, from your Mesorah that you got, that develops and translates into your way of life, into service of a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Shkoch to all of you so much. And thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi Gigi. That was awesome.
Rabbi.
First of all, you said beautiful things. beautiful Divrei Torah. And also important is that Viggy loved the Havara, Rabbi Gigi. Viggy Greenwald, appreciate, all of us did. But thank you for the beautiful Divrei Torah. I really appreciate it. It's a schos to hear the words from Rabbi Gigi. I don't want to call it a night. We're zeicha that Matt Levin is here. I want to call on Matt Levin for 2 minutes. We'll end in moments. Thank you, Rabbi Gigi. Matt Levin, I want you to say hello. You're unmuted, Matt.
No, it's not. It's not.
Now I am perfect, beautiful.
Now you're unmuted. Good. I want Abi Beitler to get to hear you and the rest of the chevra.
That was unbelievable. Such a good Torah from Rabbi Gigi and from you, Rabbeinu. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I only was able to learn one thing from each of the speeches because after that one thing, my mind was just flying on that one thought. So I couldn't pay attention after, but it was just beautiful being in the.
I'm like you, Matt. I have that also, right? Gigi and Matt general in speeches. When I hear something that captures my mind, I can't always push it away to hear the rest. I have that also.
Yeah.
You know who's here? Remember, there's a mishpacha here. David Chaim Lowinger and his family are here. Matt, you remember the Lowinger David Chaim?
Oh. Holy David Chaim, holy DC, sure, I love him.
That Chaver, the Lowinger Mishpacha is here. Tremendous chos.
Greatest human in the world.
Memo Lowinger is with us. I never tell, it's a rule. Great to see you, Memo. Great to see you. You never tell Matt what to sing. It's like not a good idea. His heart's bursting with so much.
And that is why we love you, Rabbeinu. You ready for it?
Yeah, share with us something
warm. There's this good Shlomo song I'm trying to learn a little better, but it's just beautiful. And it's just two simple parts, but it's beautiful. The way I teach it is that let us live Hashem so that we can tell over godly mices. The niggin goes as follows. Lo yamos ki echye v'asaper maseka 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 Lo yamos ki echye v'asaper maseka. It's just beautiful. It goes like simple, high, low. There's no complex things, but it's just it's amazing, the depth of it, no?
I love the song, your voice, and your pshat in the words. Thank you, Matt. Thank you. You're always a chizuk. Thank you. Let's get Yosef Kasper. How's the voice tonight?
It's doing amazing. It's well oiled right now.
How good was that with Chaim Guri and Shlomo after?
I like that. I want to see a straw tomorrow from them.
You didn't teach us. They didn't do a straw. You didn't teach us the straw. Tomorrow, Yosef, tomorrow you're singing, but first you taught us how to do with the tongue. Tomorrow I want you to teach the straw, then you sing.
All right. I'll get the lesson prepared.
Make sure you have the straw, and I want by the end that we really know how to do the straw. Maybe we'll get Yisrael Newman singing tomorrow. The Chassan's here, Srilly Rubin. Thank you, Srilly. Could you unmute, Srilly? We're going to hear Yosef. Srilly, how is the Chassan?
I'm good. Baruch Hashem.
Fantastic. Excellent. Mazel tov, Chusin. Mazel tov.
Thank you.
Maybe Srilly should pick the song.
Srilly, what song do you want Yosef to sing tomorrow?
Hatayv ki blai.
Perfect. Good call. What song? We want to stop now. We want to end the night with one song from the Srilly Chassan. What song do you want to sing?
Rebain,
right now. Rebain, and then we'll call it a night. Let's hear Rebain from Srilly.
Rebain kala oilamim, Milay alti kuseinu, אנחנו מפילים תחתוננו לפניך. ריבונו כל העולמים, לא יעצה כיסנו, אנחנו מפילים תחתוננו לפניך. כי רחמך הרבים, כי רחמך רבים, אוי לא יפסיק כיסנו, אנחנו מפילים תחתוננו לפניך. כי רחמך רבים, כי רחמך רבים, אוי לא יפסיק כיסנו, אנחנו מפילים תחתוננו לפניך.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Hussein. I want to thank the whole Chevra for coming. I appreciate everybody coming. We will continue with Avos, Be'ezer Hashem, tomorrow night, Thursday night at 8:30. Be'ezer Hashem will learn tomorrow at 2 o'clock for whoever is available. I thank everybody for joining. I thank Rabbi Gigi for his wonderful Divrei Torah. I thank Srilly, the Chusim, for singing, Matt Levin for singing and sharing his beautiful thought on the words that he sang. And I thank the whole Olam for joining. Have an excellent, excellent night, Rabbi. Have an excellent night. Kol Tov, have an excellent night.
Hey, Ruben, we're going to Lake George. Come through. Achman, where are the keys? Where are the keys? Hey. Oh, well, your socks smell from here.
How many people are in on
that?
Sayinu, anachnu mapilim tachnuneinu. Oh, that was beautiful. Happy birthday, Menachem Wiener. Let's go.
Heck is going on?
Abezin, Monk 1987. What's the cheer song?
What?
Casper, give us a preview of a Thank You. Where's Swirly Rubin? Menachem Snyder, where's your hat? Where's the hat? Ah, there it is.
Where'd she go?
Agent MS. Agent MS, man.
Oh, you can tell who it was.
That she likes the guy, that means.
You could make him sound hard to be.
Hello, can we get the birthday boy on here?
They went out to the house.
You left.
Birthday boy.
I think you left.
That song was lit.
They both had it.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Rabbeinu!
And our parents came and opened the door.
Give me something lively, man. Give me something lively.